Hello, welcome to my channel and welcome to Lucid's Advanced Manufacturing Plant in Casa Grande, Arizona. We're going to take a look at the staging lots starting here on the east side, and then we'll move around and take some close-ups of the staging lots on the west side. So there's, in this first one we were looking at that's a little further north, there was a few cars there, and I believe as I was taking this video, they were moving cars from that lot to the car carriers to be loaded and hauled away. What we see here is there's a lot more cars in this lot now than last time I flew over the factory on February 20th. There's actually two lots that are fairly full with cars here, and there's just a couple of rows of cars before. Here's a little snapshot of what was there on the 20th of February for comparison. And now we'll fly along the south side of the factory to the west. This is the same staging lot on the east side of the factory. Clear up on the top, you can see the handful of cars that were there, and then there's some employee cars here in the foreground close to the factory. That's a BMW up by the factory buildings. That's not a Gravity. And as we continue west, we'll see the two western staging lots. We'll see the Chargers first, and then we'll see the two staging areas. And what I'm seeing here is, if you look to that section to the furthest north, there's more cars up there now than there were before, but there's more open spaces in the larger area that's south of that group to the north. So that's the first western lot, and then we after this divider here, we're coming into the furthest west staging lot. Again, same thing, there's more open spaces, but that upper section has more cars in it. So I think there's slightly more cars on the western lots than what I saw on February 20th also. And here's the car haulers being loaded. No Gravities being loaded onto car haulers today. And just for comparison, this is the west lot closest to the factory and the furthest west lot. Just some still pictures for comparisons of how many cars are there. Here's some close-ups of these two western lots to give a little more detail of what Lucid Airs are there, and to make sure that there were no Lucid Gravity being stored outside. I would actually be very surprised if there was any Lucid Gravity stored on the outside. I think the small number of them that have been produced are stored inside the factory or being transported right away. So we'll just take a look at this. We're looking at the furthest north of this lot now, and then out here on the left is the car haulers, and then we'll move down and take a look at the south section of the lot and fly back to the east this time. And again, nothing special here, but I'm going to say that there's more cars in all of the staging lots today on March 19th than on February 20th when I last overflew the factory. And after looking at this, we'll come back and take a few close-up pictures of the car haulers just to see what's being loaded. Nothing unique here. And then we'll do our typical factory fly around. Looks like they're breaking ground here for more construction on the north end of the factory. This is looking to the west at the north end of the factory. We'll just fly along here and take a look at all of the employee parking. This is body in white in the foreground, stamping in the background, the taller building back there. And then the building in the background on the left is the paint shop. And of course the nice Lucid logo there with the factory. And the three flags, the US flag, Arizona flag, and Lucid flag. And now we're coming into the general assembly areas, powertrain, drivetrain, and inventory warehousing areas in this larger building here as we fly to the south. Lots of employees here working today on a Wednesday. As far as my Gravity order goes, I was asked if I wanted to upgrade to a Dream Edition for $139,000. That includes all options. Essentially, it's a fully optioned with a few extra specials, I understand, thrown in for it. Since I'm looking for maximum range, the difference between the configuration, the Grand Touring configuration that I want and the Dream Edition configuration is about a $20,000 difference. And so I'm not sure I want to give up range and pay an extra $20,000 for the Dream Edition. So I haven't decided for sure, but I'm leaning towards staying with my Grand Touring order rather than purchasing the Dream Edition. And we're continuing on to the south here, and pretty soon we'll come up on the staging lots that we started this video with. I'm amazed at how many employees there are here today, and there's just a small number of cars in the lot furthest to the north, and we'll see the other lots where there's a lot more cars today than there were before. I have heard that there's going to be some sort of Gravity event. Rumor has it in New York. Something was mentioned about that during the earnings call. I suspect that should be happening before the end of the month, but I'm not really sure when that will be. So here's one Gravity coming out of the factory, going around the test track here. This is, in fact, the only Gravity that I saw today while I was here, so it looks like it's recently come out of production. And it'll make a couple of loops around this surface test track where they're looking for rattles or suspension issues, that type of thing, as they drive it across the different surfaces that make up this track. And I was hoping to see more Gravity, especially Gravity that were going to be loaded onto car haulers, but that wasn't what was here today. There was just this one, which was it was good to be able to spot this. It was kind of nice to see it going around the test track, and then we'll see it doing some other stuff that I have not seen any other cars doing, because when it finishes this circuit, it's going to head off to the west. And actually, it looks to me like it might be doing a couple of launches over there. It gets a little ways away, but I did my best to try to keep up with it and get pictures of it. So as it finishes this loop, it's going to make a right turn here and head to the west. And so there's a nice picture of it in front of the factory as it moves along. And it's moving pretty slow here, but once it gets up on this upper road, it's really going to take off, because I do try to keep up with it. And my drone will fly at about 30 miles an hour, and I can't keep up with it. It's doing a little bit of a slalom course here, and I think it's doing about 30 miles an hour in this picture, or in this little area right here. So it's moving pretty good. And it's going to continue past the factory buildings off to the west. I've never seen any of the air over in this area being driven over here or tested over here. I wasn't really sure where it was going to go, so I actually lose sight of it for a second. Then if you look up kind of at the top a little bit left of center, you can see the gravity coming back down. It looks like it's being launched right there as it's heading to the south. And there's a little corner down here that we'll be able to get a better image of the gravity as it comes to. And there it is. I'm not sure how fast it's moving, but it's moving pretty good. And then it's slowing down. And then there's a corner here where it's going to do a U-turn, essentially, 180-degree turn. We can kind of see what the rear wheel steering will do as far as its turning radius, and it looks quite impressive there. And again, it looks like they're getting ready to do another launch as they stop momentarily, and then they're going to take off again here pretty quick. And they're going to go back up to that same area where we saw them at the beginning of this little sequence. And I don't know if they take Lucid Airs back here at any time, but this is the first time I've seen a Gravity back here or any car back here doing this. So kind of fun to see. I'm not sure what they're checking for on this, but it's interesting to watch. Didn't really look like they launched at that time, but they do start to accelerate a little bit at this point as they're heading back to the south. So they're moving at a pretty good clip along this little private road back there. And then it's going to finish this little loop and drive back towards the factory. And unfortunately, as it was driving back towards the factory, my battery and the drone was getting low, so I couldn't follow it all the way back into the factory. So I followed it as long as I could before I had to come back and land the drone and put a new battery in it. So here we see it as it's just on the north end of the staging lots heading back to the factory, and that's as much as I could photo. So hey, thanks for watching today.